Bo Nix.
Hey, buddy.
Got done with a nice little team run yesterday. Got back to a friend's house. They were making breakfast Mexican banh mi's. It was delightful. And turned on a little Colts-Broncos action just in time, actually, for Stidham to get his boring garbage ass out of the game.
Get this over with.
And Bo Nix inserted into the starting lineup. Had himself a nice little debut.
He did.
For the Denver Broncos. 15 of 21, 125 and a tutty. And who cares about the final score? But Bo Nix, we'll get to the other rookie quarterbacks. Bo Nix making a nice little start for Denver against the Colts. Any takeaways from it? Because, man, I saw some takes from Denver.
I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, that's for sure.
Benjamin Albright is just proclaiming that the overs of everything for Denver now is going to go up.
Love it.
Nick Kosmider, who we've had on here, covers him for The Athletic.
Yes.
He's like, this is why Peyton Nix is the franchise decision you needed. There's a lot of hot takes coming in. Bo Nix against the Indianapolis Colts.
Let's go, baby.
I've got a douse of cold water about it.
How dare you? Typical beef.
But I was in a duck house watching this, and I told my buddy, I said, I think Bo Nix is surprisingly better than I thought he was. Nice little start for him.
Look, it's just hilarious to have reactions to one preseason game. I love it, dude. It's so good having football back in our lives. I watched so much football this weekend. I was yelling at my TV, right takes, wrong takes. I'm addicted. I have a problem, and it was awesome this weekend. The only takeaway that I had, mainly from watching this, was laughing at the storyline and the random narrative that got created when their depth chart for the first preseason game got released. And and everybody freaked out because Bo Nix was third on the depth chart. They had Stidham listed at number 1. They had Zach Wilson listed at number 2. And they had Bo Nix listed at number 3. And everybody, what does this mean? What does this mean? Is he bad? Is he a bust? Why can't he play? How is he third? That's the worst quarterback room in the NFL. Everybody lost their collective minds. When in reality, it was just a random thing for the first preseason game. Sean Payton's probably one of those dumb old school guys. You got to earn it. We're going to make you start third and play a couple of good games, then we'll move you up. Anybody with eyeballs watching that game this weekend had the same takeaway, and that was Bo Nix is the best Denver Broncos starting quarterback. It was backup defenses for basically all of them. Zach Wilson a little more so because he played mainly in the second half.
Zach Wilson, 10 of 13, 117, a 9.0 average, and a 103.7 quarterback rating, which was better than Bo Nix. Are you sure?
It's because they had no MILFs on the sideline. All you got to do is put the MILFs on the sideline. He gets distracted easily, starts throwing picks left and right. We all know that Zach Wilson's not a good quarterback, and he's not going to be their starter. Bo Nix is the best quarterback in that room. He will be their starter. He's going to start the second preseason game. He had 5 drives. He led 5 scoring drives. He looked awesome, man. It was preseason football. He did exactly what you needed to do. He was efficient. He got rid of the ball quick. He ran it a couple of times. He was mobile. Didn't seem overwhelmed by the moment. He was in complete control. He was awesome.
I felt like Leo DiCaprio watching TV, leaning forward with a cigarette, pointing at the screen like, hey, I know that. Because the Colts were just like the college quarterback smorgasbord. Ellinger,
yes.
Jason Bean of Kansas, our old friend Keaton Slovis. Outside of Flacco and Richardson, I'm like, yeah, they got all these great college quarterbacks that I watched play for way too many years.
That was another takeaway for people watching this game was that Richardson, granted, again, one preseason game in one series, had missed a couple of guys, missed a couple of targets.
He was 2 of 4 for 25 yards.
I saw somebody put together a thread of all of his throws. Let's react to Anthony Richardson's preseason debut.
I will say, like, I think that's the only douse of cold water I'd say is, like, Zach Wilson also had a great day. And I've seen Zach Wilson as a pro. It doesn't mean that's Bo Nix. I'm just saying, like, preseason can generate some of this stuff. We'll talk about all these guys. What I saw from Bo Nix, it looked like Sean Payton, and I can't believe I'm saying this out. It looked like Sean Payton just called Will Stein and said, can I get your offensive playbook? I'm done with mine. Russ broke me. I don't know what to do anymore. He was, and you could certainly point to Drew Brees years and say, well, this is kind of what he did with Brees. For sure, I think the best hope for Bo Nix is that this is exactly what the offense is going to be because it's what Bo Nix is as a quarterback. He didn't push the ball down the field a whole ton. He had a couple moments, but largely get the ball out quick, get to playmakers, let them try to set you up for second and shorts, third and shorts, second and manageables, and be efficient. 71.4 completion percentage. That was Oregon Bo Nix that we saw when he played against the Colts. And I think if you're a Broncos fan, that's all you're hoping for. You're like, just be this. And you hope the defense continues to evolve. You hope they get him more playmakers as time goes
Mhm.
on, because I think that's going to be Denver's problem. I think their defense is going to be very ugh. And when the regular season starts and the actual first-team defenses are out there, I'm a little concerned about their playmaking situation with who's around him.
Yeah, Troy Franklin only had one target in the game, so for a young receiver that we're also keeping an eye on, no impact.
Yeah, and what was he drafted? Was he a fourth rounder or a
I
fifth
believe fourth
rounder?
round. I believe fourth round pick.
So it's like, I'm not expecting a whole lot from Troy Franklin, but overall, like, that's the offense, I think, in the NFL, if he's to succeed and be a quote-unquote franchise guy, was exactly what you saw. But again, it's preseason.
Well, I think this is also why people were excited and they kind of projected that Sean Payton and Denver Broncos would go and get Bo Nix, because when Drew Brees came back from San Diego to New Orleans, it wasn't like his deep ball threats that made him so good. It was the short and
Precision
intermediate passing.
Yeah.
That's what Bo Nix is. Like, if you put Bo Nix in like an Andy Reid system, you're going to see, I would think, a closer version to like an Auburn Bo Nix, because they want you to take those risks. Like, that's what that offense is set up to do. This offense is set up to find the open guy, get the ball out of your hand quick, and if there's no one there, he has more athleticism than Breeze did so that he can move around. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be great or anything like that, but it feels like the quarterback style and the play calling style fits into this perfect mold that's going to give him the best chance to be successful.
The other part, Dirk, that I thought was probably the most important for me, because I know the yardage, the efficiency, the percentage stuff. I think the most important thing was actually the rushing stats. 3 rushes for 17 yards at a 5.7 clip. Like,
One of them was a design. I think 2 of them are scrambles.
he needs, I mean, I think it's going to be vital for him as an NFL quarterback. He's not the biggest dude in the NFL at 6'2", but he's fast, he's mobile, he can move. Like, use your wheels, be smart, don't take hits. I think that's I think it's the most underrated part of him, if he is to be a franchise guy, is the mobility factor.
The funniest part about the conversation with Bo, for me, has always been like, what's the goal as an offense in football?
Score points.
Score points.
Yeah.
I've always chuckled at this idea of pushing the ball downfield or not pushing the ball downfield. If you're efficient, you score points. Why does it matter if it comes in 30-yard chunks or 15-yard chunks or 9-yard chunks or 7-yard chunks? And he is incredibly efficient and smart with where he's going with the ball. And that's what made him special at Oregon and in Will Stein's offense. And I thought that's exactly what you saw this weekend. Like, even his touchdown pass was kind of a quick RPO read where he pulled it out of the back's belly and just fired a laser and a little quick out route. It was just a smart, quick read.
Did you and I bet you we did. I bet you 100% we did. Because anybody that watched Bo Nix at Oregon for 2 years in Dillingham and Stein's offenses, I bet you all of us knew that was going to be how they scored. It was going to be a
Some
quick
yeah.
little, just an out. He was going to place it because he did it a million times. Just a quick 2-yard strike, perfectly right there. We all knew that was how they were going to score, right?
Yes, and that's exactly how he threw his first touchdown pass. It was something quick and easy and simple, and it was the right read on his part. He's a really smart quarterback. He's understanding of defensive coverages,
100%.
where to go with the football, and so as long as he had 5 drives in this game, they scored on all 5 drives. I think it was 2 touchdowns, 3 field goals, or 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals, whatever. That's an incredible level of efficiency. Whether you're throwing it 47 yards down the field or 7 yards down the field, he's getting the job done. Now, still, it's one preseason game. We'll see how the rest go. I'm excited to watch him in game 2. He's going to get the start. I'm curious how long they let him go. Now that there's a little bit of film out there on what Peyton and him want to do, there's going to be slight adjustments. Again, it's preseason, so you're not going to see a full defense, but just watching how he develops is going to be a lot of fun. But this whole getting caught up on throwing the ball downfield and chucking it downfield, like, Josh Allen does this a lot. Josh Allen has one of the strongest arms in the NFL. Josh Allen will also lose his team 2 to 3 games a year because he's turnover happy and because he takes risks that he probably shouldn't take. And if he had a little bit more of this in him, maybe it would get Buffalo over the top, but he has a propensity to turn the ball over from time to time. And so it's just funny how sometimes we criticize the underneath guys but not the over-the-top guys for having too many turnovers. And I thought Bo Nix looked like he fit perfectly in Sean Payton's offense one game into his preseason career.
The only reason I would say the yard average thing matters, just I think the only counter to what you're saying, because I largely do agree. Like, it's about efficiency. It's about scoring. Again, I think a big part for him in Denver is not just him. It's like, who do they have around him to help? What their running attack is going to be. You go look at the averages here. So ESPN is saying it was 6. And that's, again, it's one freaking preseason game. So I'm not going to overreact to it. We'll see what he is in the NFL because I think he's going to be the starter for them. You're in the Zappy, Bajent, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, DeVito, Dalton, Dobbs kind of category with that. And when you look at the top, it's just the guys do push the ball when they're efficient, elite throwers. They push it down the field. Again, it's one game. We'll see what they do in preseason. We'll see what because I think he's going to start for Denver this year.
Yes, he will.
I wouldn't start Stidham.
No, there's no reason to.
No.
Bo Nix looks ready to play in the NFL, and you got to figure out what you got with rookie quarterbacks.
Yes.
He's going to be
especially
their
at that
starting,
age.
Yes, he's going to be their starting quarterback.